My mother always said later. Later we'll take a trip. Later I'll rest. Later I'll buy something for myself. She said it so casually that I never questioned it. Later sounded permanent, like it was waiting patiently for her. I didn't know later was something you could lose. Growing up, my mother was always moving. If the house was quiet, it meant she was already awake. If the lights were off, it meant she was still working somewhere in the dark. She wasn't loud. She wasn't dramatic. She didn't tell stories about sacrifice. She just did what needed to be done. Every morning, she woke up before the sun. Breakfast was ready before my alarm went off. My clothes were folded before I even thought about school. When I came home, the house smelled like food and effort. When people asked her how she managed everything, she smiled and said, "You get used to it." I never saw her sit and relax. I never saw her buy something just because she wanted it. I never heard her talk about dreams. If I asked her what she wanted, she waved it away. "I don't need anything," she'd say. Later, maybe. To me, she felt unbreakable, like one of those people who didn't need rest or appreciation. When I was younger, I thought she enjoyed living this way. I thought it made her happy. I didn't realize she was postponing herself. I remember one evening clearly. We were walking home from the market. She stopped in front of a small shop. Inside, a simple dress hung near the window. Nothing expensive, nothing flashy. She stared at it for a few seconds longer than usual. I asked, "Do you like it?" She nodded slightly, then smiled and said, "Later. Right now, we have more important things." She took my hand and kept walking. I didn't think twice. At that age, you assume parents have endless time, endless strength, endless later. As years passed, life moved forward like it always does. School turned into college. College turned into work. Work turned into excuses. I visited home less. I called when I remembered. Every time I asked my mother how she was, she gave the same answer. "I'm fine. Don't worry." Her voice never sounded weak, just tired. Whenever I came home, the house looked the same. She looked smaller. Her movements were slower. Her smile took effort. But she still did everything. She still cooked even when her hands trembled. She still cleaned even when her back hurt. She still told everyone she was okay. One afternoon, I came home earlier than expected. I found her sitting on the edge of the bed, quietly massaging her wrists. She didn't hear me come in. For the first time, I saw pain on her face, real pain. Not the kind she hid behind smiles. I asked what was wrong. She hesitated, then said, "It's nothing, just age." Doctor visits started after that. Medicines filled the kitchen shelf. Appointments replaced free time. Rest was still postponed. Every time the doctor suggested slowing down, she nodded politely and ignored it. "There's time," she said. "I'll rest later." One night, while sorting old boxes, I found something unexpected. A notebook. Inside were old sketches, designs, small notes written in her handwriting. Ideas for clothes, colors, measurements. I was shocked. I asked her about it. She laughed softly and said, "That was a long time ago. I used to like designing clothes." I asked why she stopped. She shrugged. Life happened. That night, I couldn't sleep. I realized my mother didn't give up her dreams because she failed. She gave them up because she was busy keeping ours alive. Years of later had piled up quietly, stealing pieces of her without making noise. Her health faded quietly. Not all at once, just slowly enough that it became normal. Pain became routine. Rest was always postponed. Whenever the doctor told her to slow down, she smiled and said, "I will, later." Later never came. One night in the hospital, she looked at me and said something she had never said before. "I wish I had taken better care of myself." That sentence hurt more than any diagnosis. After she came home, she was different, smaller, fragile. I bought her a simple dress like the one she once admired years ago. She held it gently and said, "You shouldn't spend money on me." Even receiving felt wrong to her. Now, when I hear someone say later, it makes me pause. Later is not a promise. Later is not guaranteed. If you love someone who keeps putting themselves last, remind them they matter now. Because sometimes, by the time we're ready for later, later is already gone.